Perfect Talk is what it do. It's your guy DJ Playboy back here with another one. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's do this, man. On this episode, they giving out Apple AirTags in New York City. They got to stop all that car theft out there. But is it going to work? We'll see. Also, we got to talk about this writer's strike. You know, that's affecting your favorite movies, your favorite television show. And are they going to end it anytime soon? Also, man, you see gun violence spreading not only in the United States but now outside. They got 2 mass shootings in Serbia. We're gonna speak on that. My man Lamar Jackson finally got his big payday, and ChatGPT is a little bit more empathetic than real life doctors. I mean, understandably, but we're gonna see where that's going. AI versus everybody, right? Make sure y'all stay tuned. It's Perfect Talk Podcast, baby. What's good, y'all? It's your man DJ Playboy back with another episode of the Perfect Talk Podcast. So you know I'm here riding solo dolo, still got my coffee in hand. Still got my Perfect Talk cup. You know how it's going down, man. How y'all doing out there? Shout out to everybody out there listening. Shout out to my OG podcast listeners. You know you rocking with your boy. I appreciate it. Shout out to everybody rocking with me on YouTube right now. I see you. You know what I mean? Make sure you leave a like. Make sure you comment. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. You know what I mean? And make sure you stay notified with everything that we got going on over here at Perfect Talk Podcast. But how y'all been? What y'all been up to, man? Myself, what I do yesterday? I actually appeared on the Minority Plus One podcast, which was a really fun time, man. Shout out to Sam Crystal. Shout out to Steve, my guy Steve. Shout out to Brittany. Great experience. Had a good time rocking with them. Good talk. You know what I mean? And it was just real talk. You know what I mean? It was perfect talk. You know, to put some branding in there, you know what I mean? But no, it was a good time. Shout out to them. And as soon as that episode's drop, you'll probably see me talking a little bit more about it. Definitely gonna cut some clips up for you and hit y'all with a little something out there. But shout out to everybody out there rocking with me. I do appreciate it. And we get right into DJ Playboy's, or better yet known as Plicca's Spotlight Story. Might not be the biggest headline of the week. Sometimes it is, but we want to point and shine a light on. Plicca Spotlight Story. Let's get right into it. It was 2 mass shootings in Serbia this week. And it's something that I feel is influenced by what happens here in the United States. You don't see school shootings often. You don't see mass shootings very often in outside of the United States. But this week, a 13-year-old killed 8 students in a security guard in Belgrade, Serbia. Killed, his classmates and things of that nature. This attack was premeditated. The guns were legally owned by the young man's father, and his father and the mother were arrested. Something that I think that we need to start doing more in this country is when these kids start wilding out, parents do need to be held responsible, because I think that would deter, a lot of future attacks. Serbia does have strict gun laws. However, they are among one of the highest countries in Europe for gun ownership. This is something that they don't see every day. This is something very tragic that happened. Shout out to Luka Doncic. He plays for the Dallas Mavericks out there, but I believe he's originally from that area of the world. And he's actually, said that he's going to pay for the funerals and counseling for the victims of this school shooting. So that's something that he didn't have to do, and something he did out of the kindness of his heart, but it's something that it just shows you how tragic of an event this is, you know what I mean? Like, we're desensitized to it here in the U.S., we're kind of commonplace, but it's something that I don't think they see that often over there, and it's something that I believe is influenced by what's happening here. Like, there are mentally ill people all over the world, and they see what gets the attention, and they decide that they're going to do something like that, or they're going to hurt people in this way, shape, or form. The following day, in that same area of the world, in Serbia, a man killed 8 people and wounded 14. He was also arrested. This is a tragic thing to see, especially in a community that isn't really used to it. To see that in the span of 2 days is heartbreaking. The President Vucic, he announced a ban on new gun permits, tougher penalties for illegal weapons, and psychological checks for gun owners. And that, I think, is something that we need to see a little bit more here, is legislation act in a way that is going to deter people from doing this in the future. If you tell people that you're going to ban gun ownership for a certain amount of years, somebody might be more likely to contact someone if they see their friend wilding out, or their friend's a little bit off the deep end, and they know their friend is a gun owner. So that's I think that's a smart way to deter people because you know what I mean if y'all want guns y'all gonna look out for the other people, you know what I'm saying, like the same way I think police should be held responsible if they don't act and somebody ends up getting hurt or fatally passing away. The same way we gotta hold gun owners responsible. There's this thing in this country if they feel like if they add any more new gun laws, like now you're breaking the Constitution, now you're taking away people's right to bear arms. But guess what? We're not living in fucking 1892 anymore. Like the world is different. People are mentally ill with very easy access to these guns, very easy ways to kill mass people in seconds. And yeah, guess what? We do need to change some of these laws because it ain't the same world when they wrote that into the Constitution. You know what I mean? When they made that amendment, it was not the same world that we're living in now where mentally ill people, like I said, have arm's length away from a gun. It don't take nothing to get one. You know what I mean? So we're seeing this on the heels of what happened in Texas, a massacre where Francisco Oropeza killed 5 people execution style with an AR-15. He killed his neighbors. They came over and told him, "Could you please stop shooting your gun?" And his response was to come over there and massacre 5 of them. You know what I mean? Like that's one of the craziest things I heard. There was a manhunt going on for several days looking for him. He was on the run. I believe subsequently his significant other, his domestic partner, was arrested as well, as well as a friend and neighbor that helped him out while he was on the run. But what are we doing? What are we doing? Like I said, I don't think I'm anti-gun ownership. I think you know what I mean. People should be allowed to own guns. I think people should be taught how to properly use guns. I think people should defend themselves. But I'm not gonna be one of the people who blanketly support gun ownership and will not bat an eye. Will block their eyes. Will blind themselves from seeing what's happening in the world. And maybe there do need to be some changes. Maybe there do need to be some type of legislation here because you got sickos like this that just have easy access to guns like nothing. You know what I mean? You got people who are handling just regular neighbor interactions the right way. For instance, we're on the heels of Ralph Yarl being shot by Andrew Lester. If you're not familiar with that story, Ralph Yarl, I believe it's like a 14-year-old boy. He went to go pick up his brothers, his siblings at a friend's house and went to the wrong house and was shot in the head. You know what I mean? Like Kalen Gillis was shot by Kevin Monahan. That happened because the car drove into the wrong driveway and you just start shooting at the car. You know what I mean? Like you got these paranoid old men with guns now that no one's doing psychological checks on. Nobody's looking to see if this guy's even mentally capable. He's just shooting people in his driveway. Like that was, you thought that's how the law worked? I mean, you about to find out the hard way it's not. But you know what I'm saying? Like you telling me you really thought that's how the law worked? You could just shoot people in their driveway. You could shoot someone who rings your doorbell. Like, yo, come on now. Like it's getting out of hand. It's getting ridiculous. And there do need to be some changes made because I don't feel safe going nowhere. I don't feel safe going to like a public event, going to parades. We seen mass shootings at parades. While I was looking up the information about Francisco Oropeza, I found out there was a gun. I'm filming this on May 7th. I found out on the 6th there was another mass shooting in Texas. 8 people were killed, 7 others wounded. A man opened fire at an Allen, Texas outlet mall. Come on, man. Like, you can't go to outlets no more. You can't go shopping with your kids. You can't go nowhere, you know what I'm saying? Just because there's these people who don't know how to deal with whatever stresses they're going through in life, who don't know how to deal with whatever shit isn't going their way and feel like, yo, you're just going to kill strangers. You're just going to shoot people at some place where they feel like they should be safe. Luckily in this incident, there was a police officer that was at the mall on an unrelated call, and he followed the sound of gunfire and was able to take down the gunman. But after 8 people were killed and 7 others wounded, like it's a tragedy every time this happens, and it's even bigger tragedy that we're so used to it that we're desensitized to it. Like this didn't even come across on my I get headlines on my phone. I didn't even see nothing about this happening yesterday. Like it's nutty, man. It's a crazy world that we're living in. It's a crazy Yeah, I can't even say crazy country because now you see it's happening outside of this country. It's spreading worldwide, and hopefully this isn't a trend that we see going on. I'm not gonna put all of this on America's back because, like I said, not like violence don't happen nowhere else. But we the ones popularizing it. We the ones making it look cool. We the ones making it seem like it ain't even that big of a deal. And people do need to be in the street screaming and yelling at the top of their lungs to figure out some way to stop the gun violence in this country. Because we're not even gonna get into that. That's the mass shootings that get attention. You know how many people shot on a daily basis just on some random disputes, on some random dumb shit that don't even get the attention. Like, we're not even talking about that. Like, so yeah, we need to figure out something because I'm not trying to have me or mine go down to any type of gun violence, especially some senseless shit. But let's get into my favorite segment, man. It's called Have You Heard? I bring headlines to the table and we discuss it. We talk about it right here on Perfect Talk Podcast, man. First up, something that caught my attention. Did you know that the writers, Hollywood writers, television, movie writers, are on strike? Have you heard? Yeah, if you don't know, they decided that this is that time to, you know what I mean, make have their voices heard. I think they had a negotiations were coming up to discuss, you know, like new contracts and things of that nature, and they decided that, you know, this is the time to strike. If you remember back in 2007, 2008, that's the last one that I remember. That was a big strike, and you know, shows had short seasons. Shows were cut short. You know what I mean? That one lasted about 100 days, so hopefully, you know, this one won't last as long. But it looks like their contract was set to replace, and that the writers decided that, yo, it's time to strike. They voted to strike and decided that that's what they were going to do. Now, why they're striking, for those who don't know, is television changed in the past decade, even in the past 5 years, right? Streaming way more popular than it used to be. People aren't going out to movies as often. People aren't buying DVDs at all, right? I couldn't tell you the last time I bought a DVD or used my DVD Blu-ray player. So, yeah, and a big part of revenue that writers used to get were from royalties of DVD sales and even syndication. You see less syndication because maybe a platform like Amazon Prime or Netflix will drop a show, and that show will live on Amazon Prime or Netflix, not necessarily get sold to television networks, and that's where writers, I think, used to make a lot of royalties. So now you got the streaming format not being lucrative. You gotta have shorter seasons because, you know, you go from a 22 season. Remember with ABC, NBC, Fox, you know what I mean? They'd have their television shows going from, I want to say, new seasons will start in September and it wouldn't end until, you know, June. So you might get 20 episodes out of a television show. You might get 24 episodes, something like that. Now, if they're just dropping a short season, streaming season, I'm seeing 10 episodes, right? And, you know what I mean, that's affecting their pay as well. A lot of writers are working at the minimum pay limit, and they're not happy about it. Like, I get it. I totally understand. It's something that, you know, the music industry had to figure out, right, when they went from CDs to more of a streaming network, and it's something that they have to do now to figure it out for these writers, because television ain't gonna be fun if we gonna start getting some weirder and weirder reality shows. I mean, you already seen MILF Manor, you know what I mean? Like, they was getting crazy already, and now they just gonna start making shit up on their own. No writers, no nothing. They gotta put something out. They gotta make money. They gotta sell this advertising time. You got to see a lot of bullshit coming out unless they figure this out. Some of your favorite shows are in limbo because they don't got endings. You know what I mean? I've seen some crazy signs. Oh, that's the other thing too. Yeah, because I seen a sign that said, I searched ChatGPT and they couldn't come up with a good slogan for this sign. These writers are afraid of this AI stuff. You know what I mean? Rightfully so. I don't blame them for that. They're thinking that they could be replaced, and they want some guarantees. They want some security. They want some assurances, that they will not be replaced by Chat GPT and AI formats that are going to start writing shows for them. That's a tricky one. I don't know if, you know what I mean, we're necessarily seeing great products of a Chat GPT written television show, and obviously AI is going to get better as it goes on, but I do feel for these writers, and I do see where they're coming from. It's going to be interesting to see. A lot of these networks we're doing layoffs before this. We're trying to cut costs and figure out ways to deal with, the lack of revenue coming in. So to now have these guys asking for more money is interesting. I'm not going to pretend like these are multi-million, billion-dollar companies. They can figure out where to get the money from. But are they going to be willing to do it is the issue. Next up, have you heard, NFL fans, Lamar Jackson has received a new 5-year contract extension with the Baltimore Ravens worth $260 million. Shout out to Lamar Jackson. About time he got his money. Looks like 185 million of that is guaranteed. So this guaranteed money is all that really matters. They throw that 260 out, but it's what you take home. That 260 is with bonuses and all that type of stuff. And my man could get injured and not see any of that. God forbid. You know what I mean? So definitely happy for him making 185 million. Also with that 260 million dollar mark, they just did that so he could be 5 million above what Jalen Hurts just got. You know what I mean? Because when you get that new contract, they want you to feel like you're the big dog on campus. So you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you got to get more than the last guy who got a big check. Everyone keeps getting one bigger than the other if you feel like your skill level is above him. Lamar deserves it. Definitely represented himself, you know what I mean, which everybody was kind of clowning him for. But it looks like it paid off, you know what I mean. Was definitely gambled on himself, you know what I mean, and showed the Ravens that they, you do need him. People are also always nervous to sign a mobile quarterback, right? And let's be real, the black quarterbacks are the mobile quarterbacks because they feel like they're injury prone. They feel like they're more likely to get hurt because they'll take off and just get hit by a big linebacker or something like that. You know what I mean? So we'll hopefully not. Lamar's fast, so ain't no. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna say ain't nobody gonna catch up with him, but there's a likelihood that he might get hit by one of these safeties or one of these cornerbacks or something like that. But he's zooming past the O line, the D line, the linebackers, the secondary. You know what I mean? He's doing his thing. So hopefully I want to see him stay healthy. I want to see him do his thing. He dropped the statement because there was a lot of he say she say, a lot of hogwash, for lack of a better term, a lot of bullshit going on between the organization and Lamar. And his comments were, for the last few months, there's been a lot of he said, she said, a lot of nail biting, a lot of head scratching going on. But for the next 5 years, there's a lot of flop going on. Let's go, baby. Let's go, man. Can't wait to get there. Can't wait to be there. Can't wait to light up M&T for the next 5 years, man. Let's get it. Shout out to Lamar Jackson. He's an MVP. He's a Heisman Trophy winner, if I'm not mistaken. So, definitely, give that man his props. You know what I mean? He might have won the MVP too. But, yeah, Lamar Jackson is deserves it, man. I'm happy to see my man get paid. I'm happy to see just brothers in the NFL doing their thing. You know what I mean? So, yeah, and it looks like he did win the MVP in the NFL in 2019. So, yeah, he definitely was. He had that coming his way. He earned that. Shout out to Lamar. Spend that money wisely, brother. Have you heard New York City plans to combat crime with AirTags, Apple AirTags? New York City is distributing Apple AirTags to fight rising car thefts. Now, for all you guys who don't know, and sorry to anybody out there who owns a Kia or a Hyundai, there was a viral TikTok campaign a few months ago, that was maybe about a year or so, that showed how easy they are to steal. I think they used USB, like this little USB. What do I got one over here? Yeah, I might have one right here. Like, yeah, one of them joints like this. I think they used this to like, you know what I mean, hot wire it, get it started, get it moving. And once that happened, the thefts have been going through the roof of Kias and Hyundais. So New York City plans to combat this by giving away 500 Apple AirTags to prevent the rise in car thefts. Send one my way. I could use an AirTag. AirTags were donated by the Association for a Better New York, and the city will be fundraising to purchase more AirTags and similar tracking devices to be distributed. Yeah, car theft is crazy everywhere. Shout out to NYC for trying to figure out a thing, but to combat it. But this is something that is happening all over the United States. If you're not familiar, the Apple AirTags is a small tracking device. It emits a Bluetooth signal to notify the owner of its location. Drivers can hide the AirTags in their cars, if their car gets stolen, now you have a way to track it. And the NYPD does have to have, the owner's permission to track any AirTag. So, because everybody's nervous, like, oh, now the cops is gonna be following us and figuring out what we doing and all that. But we'll see what happens, man. It's something that is a good idea. Do I think it's gonna stop? No. But it's like if you're stealing a car now, you got to be worried about, all right, damn, I got to go search this whole thing to get the AirTag out of here and all that nonsense. So we'll see how it goes. The New York's Attorney General was among a group of 18 who were called on by the federal government to issue a recall of Kia and Hyundai car models that lack anti-theft controls. They said that these thefts have led to at least 8 deaths, and as well as numerous injuries and property damage. Kia has said in a statement that they've rolled out a free enhanced security software upgrade to prevent thefts, and is also providing free steering wheel locks for impacted owners. Yeah, I gotta figure that out. That's nervous, Kia. Like, we'll see what happens, but I don't know. I don't think it's gonna stop. Like, you can't stop car theft. Like, people stealing cars, like they don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it's going out of style. Like, so you know what I'm saying? I'm in all support of anything that can stop it, but I'm very doubtful that you know what I mean, we really gonna curb this, because it seems to be an epidemic. Have you heard Jackson Mahomes, brother of Patrick Mahomes, was arrested Wednesday in Johnson County on sexual battery charges. He paid $100,000 bond to get himself out, and this is due to a video that was released a few months ago, where Jackson Mahomes, forcibly kissed a woman. She was a owner of a restaurant and bar, and it's caught on video. You see him several times kissing her, grabbing her by the face. We spoke about this here on Perfect Talk a few months ago. Shout out to my guy Spec. He said he felt comfortable doing that because it probably wasn't his first time doing that, and I gotta agree with that as well. You know what I mean? And actually, while searching for video of him doing that, you do see pictures pop up of him forcibly kissing other women and girls, you know what I mean, when he was a kid. You know what I mean? It wasn't something that he started doing. So it'll be very interesting to see where that goes. You know what I mean? Obviously it's big headline news because his brother Patrick Mahomes just won the Super Bowl. Also, Jackson Mahomes, he had a little bit of TikTok fame, you know what I mean? So people knew about him. I remember a couple years ago where they were pissed off at him and Patrick Mahomes' wife for showing up to games. Like, even fans weren't liking him as much. I believe the lady that he kissed was Aspen Vaughn. I believe that was her name. And yeah, it's not looking great. Not looking great. Those are serious charges. I don't know how. I guess my message right here, really, to the young men out there is like, control yourself, man. You gotta control them urges. You gotta control whatever you got going on. Whatever, you gotta be able to control yourself, man. There's no reason that you should be forcing yourself upon anybody. You know what I mean? And especially like if you're a big person. Jackson Mahomes is a small guy. He's very tall. You're acting aggressive. Like, I believe that day he pushed a waiter. You know what I'm saying? He forced himself upon the owner of the Aspen Restaurant and Lounge. He definitely... You got to be aware of your height, your strength, your stuff. And he definitely used his height and his strength and that ability to force himself upon somebody. Like, it is something that we see way too much. You know what I mean? It's something that we're used to, unfortunately, and it's something that I'm tired of seeing. Especially, and I'm glad this isn't an athlete, but it's still somebody that is of some notoriety. Yeah, Aspen Vaughn looks like it was the lady's name. It's of some notoriety, doing something that he didn't even care that cameras were on him. He didn't even care that You know what I mean? Like, where he was at, what he was at. I don't care if you on alcohol. I don't care if you're on drugs. Like, you need to control your sexual urges because, or you know what I mean. And if you can't, you need to pay the price. And I believe that he will. You know what I mean? I think he is someone that's caught up in things because of who his brother is, makes him famous. We hear a lot of anger towards nepo babies this year, and he ain't a nepo baby, but I mean, yeah, I guess he is because his father was a famous baseball player too. So yeah, maybe he's just feeling like the fame of his father and his brother should just bleed on to him. And yeah, guess what, Jackson? I don't mean you could just be grabbing up on 40-year-old white women and doing what the fuck you want to do. Like, shit will catch up to you. You know what I mean? And eventually it has. You know what I mean? People will let you slide with that shit. So far, and it looks like it's finally caught up to young Jackson Mahomes. So we gonna see where this goes. You know what I mean? My man's got money. Obviously, he hit $100,000 bond and got up out of there real quick. But yeah, I wish the best for everybody. And like we say here, you innocent till proven guilty on here on Perfect Talk Podcast, but it's not looking great. And if you are guilty of what you've done, there definitely should be repercussions because way too many people in this country think that they're just above the law. Finally, and have you heard? Chatbots are giving more accurate information and showing more empathy than doctors in a new study. Basically, the results of the study showed that a chatbot such as ChatGPT, in terms of answering your medical questions or diagnosing you, will be a little bit more empathetic, a little bit more sympathetic than a traditional doctor. I 100% understand why this is true. My theory on it, yeah, doctors can't give empathy to every diagnosis they put out, to every piece of information that they give out, because they're human beings themselves. It's the same way that I gotta report some of these stories. I gotta report mass shootings. I gotta report massacres. You know what I mean? And still be able to go on with my day. It's because you have to mentally disconnect from it. And I believe doctors are doing this on a 24-hour basis. They have to be able to emotionally connect from the job that they're doing because they will break them down. They'd be all dying of early deaths. You know what I mean? That's some shit that you got. And if you're a social worker, you got to know to leave the job at the job and to go home and focus on you and do you. And doctors can't give the total amount of empathy. On top of that, doctors got another patient to see right after you. Doctors are busy. So yeah, a chatbot is going to be way more empathetic, is going to be able to definitely give you a little bit more of a compassion, because a doctor has to diagnose you and then figure out a way to help fix you. The chatbot just gotta give you some information. Yeah, they could definitely spend much more time on being empathetic in that. You know what I mean? Now what are they gonna do with this information? Who knows? I hope it shows, and it looks like from the results of the study, it's showing that doctors don't have the time. They don't have the amount of time. So how can AI be used instead of looking at how AI can take your job or slow things down for the economy, right? And shut things down for the economy, excuse me. How can this be used now with doctors? Maybe I heard someone say have the chatbot, do the intake, right? And instead, you know what I mean? Even though that is taking a job away from somebody else, maybe that's where the compassion would be better served, because and it allows the doctors not really have to, focus on that part of the job. Yeah, you know what I mean? Maybe have the chat bot take the calls in and figure out what it is, who you got to talk to, and all that type of stuff, and then maybe even have them deliver the news. And that would help doctors. All right, move on to the next patient. Let's figure out the next way to help them out. So I think it can work hand in hand. I don't think it's necessarily an AI versus humans type of thing. But it is very. I don't know. To me, it was one of those you know what I mean, kind of like studies. It was like, yeah, chatbot's gonna focus on that. And they have the time to be empathetic. They can pull all the empathy from the internet and put it all in one statement, right? So, whereas a doctor's not gonna even care to do that. You know what I mean? But yeah, let's see how we can work together. Let's see how we can put these two things together and really figure out, okay, AI's being empathetic. All right, how can we put that into my doctor's office so now they get the empathy plus they get the care that they need. In one of the studies I seen, I don't know if this was the same one, but I think they were just studying the empathy of it, whether or not the chatbots were giving the correct answers, as opposed to anything else. I don't know if that was the result of this studies, but I mean, that remains to be seen. Also, you want to make sure that they are given the accurate. I want accurate information more than anything. Like, you don't have to be empathetic to me. I can see why that would be appreciated, but I need to know, all right, what do I got to do to get better? And I heard someone say sometimes maybe doctors purposely aren't being empathetic because you need to know how serious this is for you to get turn your life around. It could be something like an obesity issue or overeating issue. It's like they need you to know that this is just as serious as getting lung cancer or any type of other cancer. Like, you need to act now, or you're not heading in a great place. So is the chat bot going to be able to determine when to give that level of seriousness and when to give that level of empathy? That remains to be seen as well. Looks like the responses even were a little bit longer from the chatbots, which goes to the time issue. I think chatbot responses were found to be 211 words, where an average physician's is going to give you 52 words. And like I said, that goes to the time. That goes to the time issue. If they had the time, you know what I mean, to do it, I think they would. Or you know what I mean, or if there was a way for them to mentally disconnect, like a computer can, they would. But it is what it is. So let's just see how this can help the world, as opposed to seeing how this is going to take people's jobs or take anything away from it. And let's continue to do studies like this to figure out how we can integrate AI into our world. But it goes back to that thing that we said before. Like, there does need to be legislation. There does need to be some type of laws put into place to kind of curb this AI thing. Because maybe I don't want to tell my information to something that's AI based. I don't want them to use my information that I'm giving them, and now they're using that to help the AI get smarter, you know what I mean? Or at least I need to be disclosed before I do. I need to be known, like, if I'm calling this person's company, this doctor's office, that I am talking to a chatbot, and that information, you know, may be saved and used for data research and things of that nature. So let's see where the legislation goes on this, and let's see where we can make any type of improvement to mankind. And that, my friends, is another episode in the books. I go by the name of DJ Playboy. You can follow me on Twitter at DJ Playboy, or follow me on Instagram at PLICCAPEEZY, PLICCAPEEZY. You see it on the shirt, baby. You know what I mean? Go check out the merch. It's coming soon. Also follow us on Instagram at Perfect Talk Radio. Right there, you can check out what we're doing. Also follow the website, www.perfecttalkpodcast.com. Every episode of the Perfect Talk Podcast, my radio show, Money Talks Radio, the live that I do with Ayo Niche and Friends, featuring DJ Playboy, and my radio show, The Night Shift. You can check all that out right there on perfecttalkpodcast.com. You can also find every episode of Perfect Talk Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio. I think I have forgotten one, but you know what? Go check it wherever your favorite podcasts are found. And I think I said check out the Ayo Niche and Friends podcast. Also check out the radio show I do with my guy DJ Show at Money Talks Radio on Instagram. It's called Money Talks Radio WMTE. So go check that out. We got 20 episodes deep for y'all, and we gonna keep doing things. Also, like I said earlier, check out my appearance on the Minority Plus One podcast that should be dropping real soon. So keep an eye out for that. I'm gonna let y'all know. Just keep up with all my socials, and we're gonna keep things moving for y'all. What have I been watching recently? Oh, NBA playoffs. NBA playoffs been good. Like I predicted, Golden State moved on to that next round. Looks like they got their hands full with the Lakers right now, but we gonna see where that goes. And shout out to my Knicks. You know what I mean? They out here. Let me see. Knicks is what happened yesterday? Yeah, it looks like my Knicks is struggling right now, down 2-1 to the Heat. But you know what I mean? We'll see where that goes in this series. But yeah, shout out to everything right now, man. I've been busy. I've been grinding. I got a new 1st and 15th coming for y'all on the May 15th. If you're not familiar, the 1st and 15th mixes are mixes that I do with my homegirl Ayo Niche. Little quick mix that we do for y'all just to keep you moving, just to keep you keep it light. You know what I mean? Sometimes it'll be some blends. Sometimes it'll be a little mini mix. So we do a real open format. So keep an eye out for that. And I'm up out of here, y'all. Stay peaceful. Stay doing your thing. Let me see. What did we learn from this episode, man? That gun control definitely needs to head to a better place, not only in the country, but also worldwide. Stay on your grind. You might be able to get that bag like Lamar Jack. If you drive a Honda or a Kia, put an AirTag in your car so it could be tracked. Don't be a wild boy out here like Jackson Mahomes just grabbing up on people, because it might not work out. Especially if you ain't got that Jackson Mahomes money, you know what I'm saying? It definitely won't work out well for you. But even that money can't hide you from the long arm of the law. So we're going to see how that one turns out. And AI could be a little bit more empathetic than maybe our doctors need to be a little bit more empathetic and sympathetic. But you know what? They doing the best job they could do. Keep saving lives out there, man. Remember during COVID, we was bigging up all the healthcare workers. Let's bring that back because they still doing their thing. So y'all have a great week. Y'all take care of yourselves. Spread love. It's the Brooklyn way. It's your guy DJ Playboy, and I'm up out of here, y'all. Peace.